people today. They could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer.
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
Your money lives longer.
I just bought that.
I just sold that.
And your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Welcome to AARP Illinois' virtual event. It's so wonderful to have you with us. AARP is on a mission to connect with individuals across various communities, especially those aged 50 and above. We're here to listen, understand, and address the unique needs of you and your community as we age. Our goal is to enrich your experience by expanding our local activities, providing opportunities for you to discover and engage with all that life has to offer right here in your own community and virtually. As we journey through today's event, we invite you to consider joining our dedicated team of AARP volunteers. It's a chance to make a meaningful impact and help us better serve those 50 plus across the nation. Connect with us and be a part of this vibrant movement toward positive change. Welcome, and let's make this event both fun and transformative.
We'll fix that in a second.
Gonna be in fifth on 2.
Hello and welcome to today's virtual event. My name is Courtney Hederman. I'm the Senior Associate State Director for AARP Illinois. So again, welcome. As we gather here online, we're united by a common purpose: to empower people to choose how they want to age. AARP provides services and programming focused on health, financial security, and social well-being. Today's virtual event is just one of the many ways AARP Illinois is here to serve and support you. For more information, resources, and to stay involved, connected about all of our upcoming events, please visit aarp.org/Illinois. Now, one of our most important issues is caregiving. There are so many caregivers here in Illinois and, of course, across the country that are providing care and unpaid care as well. So we want to celebrate caregivers. AARP Illinois has partnered with the Joffrey Ballet of Chicago for their production of the Nutcracker. Now, the holidays to me is a perfect time to get family together, celebrate, and really celebrate the caring of each other. Grandparents, parents, children, family, and friends around the Christmas tree. The story of the Nutcracker is all about family and all about caregiving. Now, you might not be able to make it to Chicago to see the Nutcracker in person, so I really hope this is the next best thing. So sit back and relax and enjoy this wonderful conversation with the best of the Joffrey and really hear all about the Nutcracker. I know you're going to love it. Thank you so much. And once again, enjoy and happy holidays.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ashley Rita, the Artistic Director of the Joffrey Ballet. And we are thrilled that you have joined us today for Christopher Wheeldon's The Nutcracker. In 2007, when I took over the Joffrey Ballet as Artistic Director, Christopher Wheeldon had said to me at that time, one day I would like to do a Nutcracker and I'd like to do it in conjunction with you and the Joffrey Ballet. Many years later, the reality of doing a new production of the Joffrey Ballet, Nutcracker, came to fruition. And so in 2015, we started work on creating what would become our very own Nutcracker today. I had studied a lot of history of Chicago, and I came with the idea to Christopher Wheeldon about setting our Nutcracker in Chicago during the Columbian exhibition, and that the journey would be this young girl, Marie's journey to the World's Fair, and that the people in the party will be the workers who are building the World's Fair. So even if they didn't have a lot of material possessions, they had dreams. And I think that this version is about showing that we all have dreams within us as opposed to material possessions. So Christopher Wheeldon got to work with his incredible team, and one of those people was Brian Selznick, the brilliant children's author. He rewrote the story of the Nutcracker, set here in Chicago in 1983. And we premiered it in 2016 to extraordinary reception from Chicagoans and across the country. And ever since then, it definitely has its place here in Chicago, this very beautiful central Chicago Nutcracker that you are going to see today. I am thrilled to introduce to you Ellie Cote, who is head of wardrobe for the Joffrey Ballet. She keeps us looking beautiful every single night for every performance. So Ellie, we're so happy to have you here for these wonderful people from AARP and to talk about the Nutcracker. And I think before we talk about this Christopher Wheeldon Nutcracker, let's talk a little bit about the previous Nutcracker by Robert Joffrey and the state of the costumes at the end of its run.
At the end of the last Nutcracker's run, I think it was year 27, and most of the costumes were absolutely in shreds. There were pieces that were being sewn together and repaired every single night, sleeves that were tearing out. There were parts that had been worn so thin that we were like coloring in the worn bits with marker that matched because it was too late to, like, the fabric didn't exist anymore to repair it. So they were in a very sad state.
So I think that we all knew that it was time for a new production because even scenically the set was in just completely disrepair. So the idea of creating this new Nutcracker, which you were so involved with, for everybody, the process of how do we take Julian Crouch's designs and make them a reality?
Well, working with Julian was great because he gave us some really lovely drawings to get started with, and then working with Christopher was wonderful because he knew how he wanted the clothes to move. So it was a lot of collaboration between the two of them to figure out how to make those drawings do what Christopher wanted them to do. Christopher was very involved with the fabrics. He had lots of opinions on the fabrics, textures, and Julian had a lot of opinions on the colors. And we worked together to make something that was hopefully going to be really durable and a little bit different, and a little bit updated, and has a very specific feeling unique to our Nutcracker.
Right. So in Act 1, when we are all these workers who work on the building of the World's Fair, and we're not fancy dressed people.
No.
But there is an art to kind of all those clothes and distressing those clothes and making them look like they have lived in those clothes.
Right. Well, they were all made to look like new clothes, and then we went back and distressed them all, put in paints to make them look old and dirty, frayed elbows and knees, and added patches. And so that was a whole process, a whole lot of work that first time around. What's really great now is that some of those things are getting worn. We're into the sixth, 7th year. Some of them have been worn maybe almost every performance. Some of them have had nights off, so it kind of depends. But we can go through and patch them with similar fabric, or kind of now we're adding to the distressing in a real way, which is really fun.
Because I think that when we get to kind of the hardcore classical dancing, the snowflakes, the fair visitors or the divertissement. It's a very different kind of style of costume.
Yes, those are very classical, very traditional. The fabrics aren't necessarily traditional, but the construction is, so they still feel like a ballet costume.
And they take wear and tear. And I think that one of the things that we're really thrilled of at the Joffrey Ballet is that our women's board made a gift and a commitment that they would raise the money so we would have a fund to always be able to maintain the quality of the costumes. And I think that is working really well.
It's working great. I mean, we know what it was like having a Nutcracker that was 27 years old. And, you know, we're hoping that this production doesn't ever really get quite that old. You know, hopefully no costumes will have to make it 27 years from now, because then we will be remaking things every year. Even since the very first year, we were already remaking and refreshing, and every year we pick something different. There's always a Nutcracker costume in the shop that's getting refreshed or repaired or remade. So it's a constant rotation, but hopefully hitting one or two characters, one or two scenes a year keeps it looking pretty fresh overall over the years.
And on top of that, we have the challenge of maybe having 4 or 5 different casts that perform the different roles in the Nutcracker every week. And therefore there are different people, different sizes. So a little inside scoop for everyone. How do you keep everything so clean? And how do you constantly make those adjustments for the different casts that are performing different roles?
Well, the laundry situation is pretty intense. I would say there's at least 9 loads of laundry that is done every performance for Nutcracker. And then at least halfway through the run, we send out everything for dry cleaning, and we wash all of the tutus. We do like a big extra wash. And at the end of the run, of course, we clean everything before it gets packed away for the year. So laundry is an endless thing. We want everyone to feel fresh and clean, even if it's the 23rd performance. And in terms of the sharing, there's very few costumes that we only have one of.
Right.
You know, if there are, there's 8 are there 8 fair visitors on stage?
There are.
So there's 8 fair visitors on stage, but we have 12 fair visitor costumes. So there's a rotation. I think for this run, the gold-colored fair visitor is on stage every night. It's just one that somehow the casting worked out that way. But other ones, they may only do half the shows or 3/4 or something like that. So it's a rotation. And in between each show, one of my jobs and our crew is to make sure that every dancer has the costumes that they need for the next show. So everything gets moved and rotated.
So it's just a constant circle.
Yes.
And when you're not doing laundry and dry cleaning, you have an inside trick to keep tutus and fragile fabrics nice and clean and fresh.
Yeah, we spray everything with 100% vodka, just the cheapest bottom of the shelf vodka.
You hear that? Vodka.
But that is it's the best. It keeps it as kind of clean as you can get it without
destroying
washing.
destroying the fabric.
It doesn't destroy the fabric. It doesn't leave any scents or anything that people may be sensitive to, and it dries really quick because it's an alcohol.
Yeah.
So it helps in lots of different ways.
I think apart from the company, we also have a lot of children, and this year we've had a mixture of little girls, little boys that all want to be in the snow scene. We have these beautiful walnuts that are dancing with their nutcrackers. So Ellie, dealing with all of the children's casts and with the idea of a little boy wanting to be in the snow scene and then recreating exactly those costumes, but for someone who's a much smaller size.
Yes, with our first little icicle, our little boy snow baby. We were so excited because it was so fun to make a miniature version of the men's company icicle costumes. And so we made him a little tiny tunic that looks exactly like the men, and we dyed him a little pair of ombre blue tights, and he looks absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's really fun. And hopefully we'll have more in the years to come.
Absolutely, I hope so too. And for the walnuts, a little bit about the construction of the walnuts, because they have to do a lot of dancing in them.
They do. The walnuts are constructed out of the walnuts are constructed out of a mesh thermoplastic so that they can be seen through. The idea is that with the light shining, the stage light shining on them, and the inside is painted black, so it's like an optical illusion that the audience can't tell that they're see-through, but the kids can see through them. We remade the walnuts 2 or 3 years ago because the originals were opaque and they were a little bit heavier, and the kids were bumping into each other and had a little bit more of a harder job doing that choreography. And so now with these updated ones, they're a little lighter, they can see, and it makes it a little easier for them.
They're adorable for sure.
Love them.
And then if there's any other kind of fun stories that we have, well, we should talk probably about, the costume is one thing, and then there's hair and makeup, and the amount of hair pieces for the gentlemen, hair pieces for the women.
Yes, there's lots of hair in Nutcracker. There's special roles for the ladies that they get like curls to kind of make them look a little bit more period appropriate, and especially in the prologue, and then some of the Wild West ladies in Act 2, they all have hair pieces additional, and then the men, there's a lot of facial hair. All of the impresarios, all of the fair visitor men, they all have mustaches, and the party men in Act 1 have sideburns, mustaches. They have kind of a variety to just make them look like they're part of a group. On top of that, we have a couple of wigs too. The Buffalo Bill wig and the Ratcatcher wig are very specific to those roles and really make those characters stand out.
I think also, hopefully in the video, they're going to see the rat, because that's a kind of one really fun costume.
It's a great costume.
And was really quite amazing in its construction.
Yes, that was a really beautiful costume to see made, and it shapes the dancer's body to look sort of like a rat, giant rat, but it's completely lightweight and hollow, so you can kind of like push on it and it moves around, but it gives him a shape without any really additional weight. So it's very successful.
And it doesn't, what I find is that, however, because one of our dancers is 6'4", and yet when he's in that costume, you would never have an idea how big or small he is. Somehow the costume just changes someone's complete perspective.
Yeah, their proportions look totally different. They do not look like themselves at all.
Yeah. So it is my pleasure to introduce Amanda Azucena and Alberto Velasquez, who are intimately familiar with this production of Christopher Wheeldon's Nutcracker, but they also danced in the previous production by Robert Joffrey. So before we get into the Nutcracker, Amanda, what was your first introduction to dance?
My first introduction to dance, I think, I don't remember a time where I wasn't dancing. I have very faint memories of just like being on the tip of my toes around the house and doing like port de bras and doing the splits at home. My very first introduction, I believe, was when my father went to take me to an opera, Aida, in Rio. And my mom was like, what is a 5-year-old going to be doing at the opera? And turns out that the next day I was just reenacting the entire thing with my dad. I loved it. So, yeah.
Because you are from Brazil.
Yes, I'm from Brazil.
And for you, Alberto?
Well, I've been watching dance since I was born because my mom is a ballet teacher, so she's been teaching since she's like 16 in the National Ballet School in Cuba. So I've been around dance since I was very young, even though she didn't want me to be a ballet dancer. I've been a ballet dancer. I knew all the musics for all the ballets. Like I used to be her soundtrack in school and stuff.
That's fun. And both of you came to the Joffrey, and for both of you, this is your company, your first company, and your company. So, Alberto, how long have you been here?
This is my 13th season. Time flies.
Yeah, and I'm on my 11th season.
Which is fantastic. And in Robert Joffrey's version, you dance many roles.
Many roles.
Because I remember that was really your first big role was when you did Chupaca.
Yes. Definitely a really special role, very near and dear to my heart. I just love everything about Chupaca. Yeah, like being the queen of sweets and the costume and the choreography, the finesse that she has, the music is stunning. So it was always just such a privilege to do that role. But I also did so much more. I did flowers, I did snow, I did Chinese, Arabian. I think the only things I actually didn't get to do was the mice, the soldiers, and Russian dance. That's it, in Spanish.
Alberto, how about you? How many roles have you done in the Nutcracker?
My first year I did mice, I did parent, I did soldiers, I did Russian, I did flowers, I did 2 spots in flowers, I did snow, then Cracker doll, and then eventually I got to do the Cavalier.
Exactly.
And we got to dance that together.
And you got to dance together.
Yeah, we eventually got to dance that together. It was equally as special.
I think it was the last year.
It was the last year of the Robert Joffrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And then when Christopher Wheeldon came to do a new production of the Nutcracker, he chose the two of you. One to do the lead of Marie and to do the lead of Peter. And I think that it would be lovely to let our audience know what is that relationship when a choreographer comes in and is creating roles specifically to the two.
Well, for me it was a really huge experience because it's not every day that you get to work with Christopher Wheeldon, and we have done his work before, but he's never created
on you, on
me or on us. So it was like I was very nervous because I want to try to translate what he wants, but I was very excited, and the whole process was just very how can I say it,
he was really specific.
He was very specific of what he wanted, and he would let I want you to do this bigger, more here. So the coaching that he gave us was really specific, and we got to learn a lot from that.
Yeah, it's something we definitely have taken through the rest of our career, because he had such a clear vision of what he wanted, and along with Jackie, she also helped us coach the role so specifically, right. And it got to a point where Marie just became part of me, and I became part of Marie, because the coaching and the details were so specific. His vision was so clear. His attention to detail was even clearer. So that process was really nerve-wracking for us to be working with Chris Wheeldon for the first time so closely, but also really, really cool to see how incredible, how far his mind can go. Because
I think for the two of you, especially the role of Marie, it really is her story. So you're carrying the entire performance, as is Peter, and also you now have another role, which is the mother golden statue and the impresario. So you both have the lead roles in this production, and they require very different things. But I do think that Marie is such a tour de force to take the audience on that journey.
She is. She's somebody. She's so different than the Claras that we see in other productions too, because she has it in common that she's a dreamer. She dreams, but her dream is something that's not. It's not so shallow as the land of sweets and more presents. She dreams of a family. From the very first moment that she steps onto the stage, you see that she's dreaming of having a father figure and having a complete family there, and for her mother to have a good life for her family. So I find that really beautiful in Marie's story. that she has a concrete dream that I think many people can also relate to.
Absolutely.
And at the end she gets, there's a resolution to her story at the end.
And I think we should let our viewers know that in this version, it is a single mom with 2 children. And Marie is, everyone in the world is searching for family, and I think that's why there is such a heart to this story, and a little bit Alberto for the role of Impresario, because it's very different than a Drosselmeyer role.
Yeah. I feel like because it is I feel like the Chicago version is very unique because it's based on the 1893
Yes.
World's Fair. So the Impresario guy is this guy that is building this World's Fair, and he's very close to the employees that work with him. And when he comes to the party, he treats them like family, and he treats them like as equal, as part of. He's, for me, Impresario is a very grateful person, even though he comes from a different status. He treats everybody with the same respect.
Yes.
I don't know how to explain it.
Treats them, yeah.
I can't find the word in English. He just treats everybody like if it was another, like a human being.
Equal.
So for me, the entire time is that whole conversation of just like you're my neighbor.
No, he's not above anyone.
He's not above everybody else. So I think that's also very unique in this production. That you see a bit more of I want to say, more of the real rest of the world is not like the original Nutcracker. Like huge, lavish family, with all these huge presents, and it's more inner,
Heartfelt.
Heartfelt, than all the normal production, which I find unique and special. And I think that's what makes it extra special.
It tells a story of people that are just coming together to spend Christmas Eve together. And true people that worked at the fair, the immigrants that came and worked at the fair, community, a sense of true community.
Yeah, I think we did a lot of research, and I think the role of the Impresario is modeled on Daniel Burnham, who was the architect for the city of Chicago. So I love that there are real characters that are involved in the Nutcracker, including Buffalo Bill. So we've tried to cover everything. But I think for both of you, apart from dancing these 2 versions, you probably have danced other versions as well as guest artists around. So what is it about the Nutcracker that we come back to again and again and again, and we still find the joy in it? I mean, I've been involved with the Nutcracker for nearly 60 years, and I still love it.
Yeah, me too. I still love it. I'm still a sucker for the magic. I don't know. I think sometimes the world is harsh. Life is harsh. So when you step into a theater and you listen to that beautiful music, that Tchaikovsky music that you can't get sick of, and you just witness true magic in front of your eyes, no matter the version, it's just a beautiful escape, especially at the time, during Christmas time, and it just inspires you, because to me Christmas isn't just a day. Christmas is a whole energy that goes around it. It's the anticipation for Christmas, and it's that feeling of just magic and joy all around, and I love that the Nutcracker is a part of that.
Yeah.
It's in the music, it's in the magic, it's in the energy that goes in between dancers and orchestra and all of that. That, to me, is what it is.
I think for me it's what she said, but it's also Nutcracker has become such an important part of the every year day life, especially here in the United States. That it's such a tradition. It's just like I hear people that they cannot wait to December to watch the Nutcracker because it has become such a a tradition that everybody comes to the theater to watch this performance, and every year is just as magical as the year before. And every year you get more like new kids, kids that grow and they've been watching it for years.
That's part of the joy too. You get to inspire so many little kids to
Absolutely.
join the ballet, and maybe the next legend of ballet is sitting in the audience watching it right now. That's inspiring.
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
And it is fun to see, like we've got to see little kids that started as snow angels, like baby angels, and now they're like doing a party scene with us, or
they're in a company.
or they come back and they were like, oh my god, party kids.
Yeah, there's a lovely tradition there.
Yeah, exactly.
You grow up through the Nutcracker.
Yeah,
So apart from the wonderful roles you've created, what are some of the most magical moments in this production that Chris has created?
The most, I can't answer that because for me the most magical moment isn't the roles I created.
That's okay.
I love the transformation scene. It drives me to tears every single time. From transformation all the way to the end of Snow Pas de Deux, I'm in tears. I think it's stunning. I have so many favorite moments. I'm such a sucker. I love this ballet. I love, I'm gonna steal your moment. It's his favorite moment too in the Pas de Deux of the Impresario and the Golden Statue, when they turn around and it's the crescendo of the music, and there's no ballet steps. It's simply the Impresario
stillness, looking at each other.
It's storytelling.
Yeah,
it's storytelling in the most beautiful way.
Yeah, of two people just finally being able to express the love for each other in the most beautiful music.
When you watch it from the outside too, and when you're doing it also, but when you see it from the outside, the entire party scene is so beautiful. Because again, it's so different to the normal traditional Nutcracker.
It's intimate.
Yes, like it really makes you relate more. And like when we do the community dance, that part, for me, that part is so pretty.
I think for me too. I agree with you, Alberto. I think that what this production of Nutcracker shows is the brilliance of Christopher Wheeldon and the craft. But that party scene and about kind of honesty and community, it's powerful.
Yeah, it's really
really powerful.
It's quietly powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like in your face trying to like give a show. It's just intimate.
All the transitions from the snow projection.
It's quite a
magical.
It's quite a spectacle. So do either of you have, a funny moment, a sweet story, just something that you want to let our viewers into?
I have one. I think the very first time we did a preview in Iowa for the audiences, I stepped out as Marie to do the Waltz of Flowers, the Fair Visitors Dance, and to do the very first cabriole, I step on stage, I slip, I fall, something completely out of my control. And I was devastated after the show, so there's so much writing on this and everyone's excited to see what's gonna happen, and I go and fall on stage. So I was devastated, but it turned out to be a sweet moment that I remember now, because there was a mother in the audience with her 2 daughters that sent me a message. And she said, I love the show, congratulations. I know that you fell and you must be devastated, but my 2 daughters were in the audience, and to me that was just another lesson in teaching them that when you fall, you do get back up. Because I had to get back up and I had to keep going with the ballet.
That is a sweet moment.
So it was nice. It was a nice sweet moment, because I will never forget the text, the message from her saying that it was an important lesson in people's lives too. So
that's great.